Welcome to What Do You Think of This? We're revisiting the best things from our past to let you know whether they're the best things for your future. I'm Jeff Abyad. That's Josue Escobar.
How you doing, everybody?
We are really revisiting one of the best things from your past this week. You are throwing a recommendation our way. We are back to another album review.
Yes, music. I love music. Do you love music?
I do love music.
I love music.
I love music a lot. If you could look around this office, well, you can a little bit. You would know. And in fact, like I said, I've been into a lot of music this week because not only are we listening to this, but we're getting ready for that 90s night.
Was it hard to like transition?
Yes. I had to section off time because I'm like, I can't do both of these at the same time.
Oh, no. What if you like mistakenly started like singing? I wish you were here. Oh, wait, no, wrong throwback, everybody. I'm sorry.
Yeah. People would be real surprised. I don't know.
They'd be like, oh, I love the way you like mixed Maranatha with Incubus.
It would be over so many people's heads. We've been getting snack ideas ready for the night. And so since I've been using ChatGPT for everything.
Are you doing like themed snacks?
Yes, because I was like, we were talking about, what should we have? And I was like, well, why don't we do 90s snacks? Which led to a whole discussion thread about like gushers and push pops and pop rocks and all that good stuff. Dunkaroos.
Have you had, you mentioned Pop Rocks. I recently, maybe like a month or two ago, had the Oreos with the Pop Rocks in them.
No, I've not had that. No.
It's crazy.
That does sound crazy. So just normal Oreos, and then you get that kind of fruity.
The cream filling has Pop Rocks in it.
What does this world come to?
Man.
We're just like throw it all together.
I thought deep fried Oreos was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
I think this stuff is just going to keep happening, and it's fine. I'm not against it, but it is funny because board games have become like that. Like how many editions of Uno we have in our house now? I'm like, can't we just play the game?
It's funny. A new Goodwill just opened up in Sterling.
Yeah,
and we're like, hey, let's go check it out.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever been in a Goodwill, but this one was humongous.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Super Center, Goodwill, Surplus, Goodwill.
Yeah, I'm like, man, do they sell cars?
The best will.
They have everything.
Just beaters. Yeah.
They had VHSs. They had the old Disney VHS, like in the package, the white fluffy package.
You're only getting that as a collectible at this point, right?
This point,
Nobody's watching that.
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
But then, so anyway, we're in the kids section looking at all the toys, and they had, and which we bought, it was a Monopoly vintage edition Monopoly.
When you say vintage edition, it was like an original, or they made it to look.
It was old, but at the same time, it was also the limited edition, like vintage version. So this is like something that came out back in the day when they started modernizing Monopoly. They were like, hey, let's throw it back. So then this is probably like, I don't know, the year 2000. They're like, let's throw it back, or 90 something.
Monopoly's been around a while.
Yeah. So let's throw it back. It still has the metal pieces.
Yeah.
But the houses in the hotels are wood.
Yep.
I was like, we got to buy this. It was only like $5. It had all the dollars in it. We still haven't played it yet, but I'm going to teach the kids.
I was going to say, in 10 years, it's going to be right back at the Goodwill. Do you remember the version of Monopoly that had the credit card reader?
No.
This was turn of the century. I mean, it must have been early 2000s. I remember it became a thing, and each player would have a card, and you have to insert it, and then it would read, how much in your bank account, which then was futuristic, but kind of annoying. Yeah. You're like, just give me this takes too long.
And they have like Monopoly Build, where you build your stuff in like towers, like 3D.
I don't.
It's just good.
It's fine. It's a different game. I just want the original game.
Exactly.
So I can cause trauma in the lives of my children.
Exactly.
That's bankrupt them all their money.
That's the one thing I thought about. I was like, I haven't traumatized my kids yet with Monopoly.
Oh man, people at my house, they won't play with me. My wife definitely won't play with me. My sister also will probably never play Monopoly with me again. I think though, did you guys have special rules? Not just free parking, like that's always like a house rule, I feel like. But when you would go almost bankrupt and then you'd like barter.
Oh, yes.
But we'd be doing things like, okay, for the next 2 times around the board, you don't have to pay me if you land on this property.
the next 2 times.
So we'd be like wheeling and dealing like that. Like, okay, if you give me Boardwalk, you won't have to pay when you land on it or stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll give you like, a free stay at my property.
Yeah.
If you give me a park, what is it called? Park Place or whatever. Yeah.
When things got real desperate.
Yeah, I think we've done that before.
For other players, I would take a get out of jail free card and, hey, I'll sell this to you for $49. Like, save $1.
Yeah. It's so crazy. But the kids also got Life because they like that. It's very similar to Monopoly.
Yeah. But is it an old school version? Because there's new ones now.
I think it is a newer one.
We had to buy a new one because our old one got destroyed.
Yeah, it's a newer version. So, but they played it with their friends before and they wanted it.
The game of life.
Yeah. Which I'm like, Monopoly's better, guys. Come on.
Yeah. But listen, always go to college.
Hey man, sometimes they win without going to college. I'm like, yep. Hey, sometimes you roll the dice and you make it.
I was going to say, and you move your mice.
And you move your mice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not to spend all day talking about old board games, because that is absolutely not what this episode is about. But we did at some point buy a new version of Mousetrap. Oh, really? Because I had fond memories of that as a kid. Yeah, that was a really fun one. It's not the same. No. You used to build the game as you go. You'd roll the dice, and then here's one piece. Yeah. And then when you get to the end, then you can set the trap. Now, you just build the whole thing at the beginning. It makes no sense. It's just annoying, and it's still annoying.
Yeah.
The trap doesn't go off right. You're watching the thing, or it does go off when you don't want it to.
That's hilarious. I think I've only played that game like once.
Yeah, we used to play it a lot as kids.
So crazy.
Now we're trapping real mice, Josue.
Yeah, we are.
Get out of my
Making
house.
Contraptions.
Yeah, I'm not using cheese. I'm using peanut butter, and it works well.
I'm putting this against the corner so he can't go anywhere. He has to go through it. Putting other things up so they have to go through the trap.
Oh, man.
Oh, life gets better and better.
Yeah, it does. And you're still sporting this shirt. Speaking of life getting better and better.
Yes. In honor of today's topic.
What year did you buy that shirt?
2011.
Did you buy it?
September 11th, 2011.
Shut up.
Yeah.
What? Why? That's so...
Because that was the actual date of the show.
So it's a concert shirt. Oh, yeah. Lucasville, Honolulu, Phoenix, Arizona. So September 11th is ice. Yeah. But Virginia Beach? No, Columbia,
Maryland, yeah.
Oh.
Meriwether. Yep. Nice, so it was, I guess people were like, hey, we got to move on. We got to have a concert on 9/11.
10 years after. 10 years. Let's listen to some Incubus.
And it was actually, the I think it was the only time I ever went to a concert with my brother.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Edgar was with Sophia at the time too. Like they just started dating, and we went to this concert, and Edgar and Sophia were there.
That's cool.
That was really cool. So.
All right. So to set this topic up today, you have brought a game.
Yes.
Okay.
So
there's a lot of stuff going on here. I'm very excited to get to.
For sure. So anyway, in honor of Incubus, which if anybody knows anything about Incubus,
by the way, I think a lot of people don't. I was asking around, and I'm like, Incubus. I thought I just didn't know because I was listening to different music.
It's one of those things. I don't know why, but they had their like heyday when their album "Make Yourself" came out, and Morning View, the one that we're talking about.
Yeah. And
then after that, I think they just changed so much.
Yeah.
So one of the things that really made me think of this game was a rock. Like, how well do you know rock genres?
The actual genres.
The actual genre, like is subgenres of rock. If you don't know, there's a lot of genres of rock. I
consider myself somebody that likes rock music.
Yeah.
Sorry, a DC Talk lyric is going through my head, which is not the appropriate. But I don't think I'm going to do well.
Well, it's crazy because when they first started, they had a lot of influences from Red Hot Chili Peppers, like really funky, whatever, slap and just really busy music.
Sure.
And then they went to alternative rock, new metal.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that they influenced Linkin Park because I don't know if you noticed this, but there's a turntable.
Yeah. I noticed.
Yeah. So I mean, there's how many other people? New metal does that. Whatever. So anyway, there's all this. So I think because they changed so much, a lot of people are like, nah, I like this album and this sound, and then they changed, and then they kind of can off.
That happens with bands,
But I feel like they've evolved and have gotten more mature. And
sure.
I mean, we can talk about it more later, but Mike Enzinger, the electric guitar player, I think in 2000, I think 2012, 2013.
Yeah.
He maybe even later than that. Became he had got his doctorate in music.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's played with Hans Zimmer.
Really? On soundtracks?
Helped make the score for Man of Steel, one of the movies I like.
Okay.
Superman. He was on that. He helped score that soundtrack.
That's cool.
Yeah, he was. He's been in a lot of stuff. When Halo. I don't know if you know Halo, the game.
Yeah, not the Beyonce song.
Yeah. So he helped. Not the Beyonce song. Halo. No, not that. Halo, the game. He was part of when they did some special thing for Halo or whatever, and they redid the music for Halo. Mike Enzinger was the one that of redid some of the music on there and stuff like that. So Incubus too. So anyway, really cool stuff. So they really evolved because I think they've also changed a lot. And we'll also talk about how the bass player isn't the same bass player from Morning View to today.
Right.
Okay. So anyway,
I stumbled across that fact.
Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to test your rock genre knowledge here.
All right, go easy on me. I'm gonna have to add a little point total like I've been doing, and it's just gonna be 0.
But really quick, so I put this in ChatGPT, and
our best friend.
Oh my gosh, really, really quickly came up with something. I'm like, really? All right.
Facts here will be about 87.5% accurate.
maybe. Yeah. Okay, so first one.
Okay.
Which genre is known for distorted guitars, flannel shirts, and a raw sound that emerged from Seattle in the 1990s?
Okay, I feel like this is a low ball for the intro. This one I know. I feel very viscerally grunge music. Is that the genre?
Yep.
I'm thinking Kurt Cobain, obviously, Nirvana, Seattle.
Yep, you got it.
Okay,
grunge. Good. And there's another quiz that I actually had ChatGPT make up that was basically this, but about Incubus and how they touch on pretty much every single one of these genres in their music.
Oh, yeah?
Which is really cool, to like find out. I'm like, what? Really? Anyway. Okay, next one. Which rock genre started in the late 1970s as a reaction against overproduced music known for its DIY ethic and fast tempos?
Is it punk rock?
Yes.
Oh, it is?
Yep.
Okay.
Punk. Good job.
Yeah.
See?
Okay, I'm feeling better. I'm coming in with confidence now.
What genre features big hair, glam fashion,
come on,
power ballads, often associated with the 80s?
Okay, well, I'm picturing, what's it called? Guns N' Roses, Nelson, hair band? Would you just call it, wait, no.
You know what's really funny? Is that the answer's in the question.
Oh, well, can you read the question again? wait.
Which genre features?
Glam rock?
Yeah, glam rock. There you go.
Okay.
Big hair, glam fashion.
That's funny. Yep, ChatGPT does that.
Yep. Okay, so round 2 is sound and style.
Oh, okay.
Which genre often uses complex song structures, unusual time signatures, and philosophical lyrics?
Oh, okay.
I like this.
It's a genre. Complex song structures, philosophical lyrics. This is not emo. Okay, I don't know.
You want a clue?
Yeah, sure.
Wait, I don't have any clues.
I gotta make this up with my own brain.
I would say, have you ever heard of the band Coheed and Cambria?
No.
Another great one.
Can you give me a Christian alternative?
Oh, man.
I'm not gonna. It's fine. I won't know.
It's prog rock.
Oh, okay. I know that as a term. I wouldn't have been able to pinpoint that.
I probably wouldn't have either. The genre, maybe. The genre is this genre is characterized by emotional lyrics, melodic hooks, and roots in punk and indie scenes.
Okay, but this isn't emo either. You said the word emotional. Is it emo? Yeah. Okay. Okay. I was leaning there.
That's like, what band comes to mind when you think of emo?
I was going to say Dashboard Confessional.
Yeah. What's that one song?
Vindicated?
Vindicated, I am.
We're like sharing a brain.
Yeah. That one came out for Spider-Man. Right?
Yeah.
1 or 2.
I don't remember. What I do remember is I think
music video with the kiss.
No.
Like the Spider-Man upside down with the kiss?
Oh, then they're on it?
Yeah.
I remember their album Dusk and Summer and really liking it. And that song was on the album I had, but I didn't know it because it was a hidden track. So for years I had this album, and then I'm like, where is this song? Why don't I, like, as I know the song, why don't I have it? Then I looked up the album, and it's like the album I have. I'm like, what? And you had to get to the end of the track, and then it was one of those CDs.
Listening?
Yeah, but it like played the track in reverse or something. It was some weird coding on the album that if you were just listening to it, it would skip past it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, why you got to be like that?
Yeah.
Dashboard.
Hey, man, back CDs, people used to do that all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, which genre mixes hip-hop elements, heavy guitar riffs, and aggressive vocal delivery?
Beastie Boys.
Beastie Boys. Wow.
Hip-hop, aggressive guitar, and what vocal deliveries?
Aggressive vocal deliveries. Heavy guitar riffs.
Heavy guitar riffs. I don't even know what you would call that. Multiple choice?
We already did grunge.
Yep, it's true.
We already did post-rock and stoner rock. Well, we didn't do stoner rock, but stoner rock is not one of them.
I don't know. I don't know this one.
New metal.
Oh, okay. This is another one like prog rock. I know the term, but I wouldn't have been able to.
All right, band match. Which genre is the most associated with Rush and Yes?
Rush. I know them as a band name. I don't really know them, but these are new answers. This is a new genre that we haven't done yet.
No, you have done this one.
Oh, okay. I
don't know what Yes is.
I thought Yes was like an 80s band, but Rush.
I think so. Rush is definitely
not a glam
70s?
band. So Rush would be like.
This this one would throw me off because
it's not punk, is it?
Nope, it's prog rock.
Oh, see, I need to learn more.
I didn't know Rush was prog. Which genre?
I know Prague is in Russia.
Which genre fits Green Day, The Offspring, and Blink 182?
Got it. Punk rock.
Yep.
I always liked me some punk rock.
All right, Black Sabbath is often considered the godfather of which genre?
Is this a new genre or one we already did? I was going to say death metal.
Oof, close.
Metal?
Close. A little bit.
Aluminum.
A little more weighty.
Heavy metal. Yeah. I'll count that as a point. A little more weighty.
History and origins. Which city is considered the birthplace of grunge?
Oh, Seattle.
Yep. Which genre was born from garage rock and blues in the 1960s and became huge in the 70s?
Oh.
You know this.
Garage rock and blues, huge in the 70s. Well, wow, I feel like I'm oddly stumped because I think 70s and I think disco.
No.
I don't know. What?
Hard rock, baby.
Oh.
Which rock genre developed in the UK and was known as glam fashion and theatrical performances in the early 1970s?
And this isn't just British rock?
No, it's glam rock again.
Oh. How many pages is this quiz?
It is another 2.
Shut up.
Last one.
Okay.
Which genre is associated... Oh, this is a deep cuts.
Oh, gosh.
Which genre is associated with wall of sound effects, dreamy textures, and obscured vocals? This one I didn't even know.
We're talking about like... What a way to end.
This one says... You want me to just give you the answer?
Yeah, please.
Shoegaze rock.
What is that? I get the concept of gazing at your shoes.
Probably more like Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah, I know them by name, but I wasn't allowed to listen to them. Okay.
All right. Let's just
we'll put whatever the total is here on the video if you guys are watching the video feed, and then because I don't know how many points that was.
Now, what would you say this album falls under?
Well,
what genre?
Oof.
Based off of that.
I need to look at the notes again. I would say it's because it, well, I don't know. It's not prog rock, is it?
It's all over the place, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Did you want to do an intro first before?
Yeah, let's hit the intro. Incubus is an awesome band.
Incubus is an awesome band.
I think you should listen to it.
I think you should listen to it.
And enjoy some of the best rock music.
And enjoy some of the best rock music.
And best vocals you'll ever hear.
And best vocals you'll ever hear.
This piece of nostalgia was unfamiliar to me.
Yeah.
It sort of falls upon me to give our listeners my summary of this album.
Yeah, I'm dying to hear your summary and in overall what you thought.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Morning View.
Be nice.
Morning View by Incubus. I would call this a raw studio recording of a tight band who likes crunchy guitars, funky grooves, and sonic surprises in the way of electronic samples, record scratches, and frequent nods to feudal Japan. Yeah. Layer on top of that the whiniest vocal I have ever heard in my entire life. Ladies and gentlemen, if Angst had a name, that name would be Brandon Boyd.
Yep.
What genre is that?
It's all over. It's like indie, new metal.
There was a lot going on in this album. I have never heard this album, and I don't know what I expected coming into this because I know you.
Yeah.
But this is not. I don't know what I expected. It wasn't this. I couldn't have expected this.
In a good way or bad way?
It's just. I was thinking about this, Josue, because you and I have a lot of crossover. You know, we were just sharing a brain in that quiz. But this is how I decided it is. It's like getting to the top of a mountain, but you and I have climbed up on different sides. And we've somehow
same mountain, but
landed at the same peak, but with a different journey.
It's like you came from the dark side of the moon, and I came from the light side of the moon, and then like we're like, hey, we're on the same moon.
Yeah, let me explain the moon to you. It's dark, you know, and you're like, no, what are you talking about? It's super bright.
Yeah, and there's this big blue thing out there.
yeah, exactly. Okay, this album you said last week, it came out in 2001.
Yeah.
Give me the layout of the band, because I knew Brandon Boyd because I had to look up who the singer was.
Yeah.
But you said, I know the bass player changed and is a female now?
Yeah, it's yes, female now.
But who was the original lineup?
So it was Brandon Boyd, DJ Kilmore, Mike Enzinger, Jose Pacias, and Dirk Lance. I think he has like a stage name or something like that. I forget.
Okay.
Anyway, doesn't matter. And then it became Ben Kenny became their bass player from like 2000, I think 2010, 2011, something like that. I think because of different stylistic approaches, the bass player left.
Oh.
So that all like that funky stuff.
Yeah.
Because he still makes music.
Okay.
And it's very much that funk, what you call it? What's that band that like that jam band that people always go to?
Oh, I was going to say Fish.
Grateful Dead or Fish. Yeah, like that. Anyway, so you can kind of, so the way they were going, because I've listened to them. So my first introduction to Incubus was in my brother's car, and it was Pardon Me, or Make Yourself, sorry. The album prior to this, which is really near and dear to my heart too, because I think it's a little heavier. Yeah, still a little. Brandon Boyd's pretty much the same voice in those two albums.
Okay. That's what I read, that this album was a little bit mellower and more like melodic after the album that came before it.
Exactly, yeah. and so I can see why they've changed so much, because when you get to the next album, which is A Crow Left of the Murder, Ben Kinney's finally on there, they're writing music. Some of the bass lines and the way he plays bass, even the way he plays some of this older stuff, incredible.
Oh yeah,
locked in. When I saw them live, Ben Kenny was the bass player.
Okay,
thought it was like the best. Rhythm rock section ever?
Totally. Okay,
it just sounded so good. They were never in their way, but they were also locked in. Really, really weird. Anyway.
Well, so what makes this particular album, Morning View, so meaningful to you?
Yeah, so I think this one definitely for me, because I didn't have like the same freedoms as like Edgar did or Jose did with like going out to the store, buying, music, buying CDs, because that's what we did. We went to the store to buy music. And I had no money, so
the mall. What was that store in the mall? Not FYE. What was the one? Is that it? Where you used to go and kind of browse the albums and stuff? Yeah.
So, or what was that? Tower Records.
Yeah.
There was a Tower Records that we used to go to. Anyway, but to me, this one sticks out because it was when I could get music by myself, which was really when Napster first came out, or there was this Korean website where you can stream music for free, which is really crazy. I found out when I was in school. that was like I listened to that one first. And
you were streaming this?
Well, Napster, and streaming,
whatever.
Streaming, but not like streaming today.
But yeah, you didn't have the physical album?
No, I didn't have not until later, right? And so it was one of those things where like Edgar listened to Make Yourself, and I was like, have you listened to their new one yet? And that was like my like, check it out, I'm ahead of you finally in music. Anyway.
What did he think? Do you remember?
Yeah, no, he loved it too. I think Edgar was definitely with me with how much we liked them, and actually, in fact, like the stuff that I brought to kind of show you, this is Edgar's stuff. This is Edgar's.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So,
so what's the feeling that it brings back to you when you put this on? Do you listen to this album still ever?
Yeah, for sure. Okay. I mean, I think to me, it seems pretty timeless because I don't think those guitar sounds will ever get old.
Yeah.
The DJ stuff, the scratches, you could tell that's kind of dated, but it still fit really well with what they were doing. I think people even who listen to Linkin Park will like that kind of stuff. The bass playing, like the way that all that fits in is really cool. Even the recording style, like when you mentioned like, what did you mention? Like garage style recording?
It felt like a really raw recording.
So I don't know. So other people would know this if they're into all this, the music, but Red Hot Chili Peppers recorded an album in a house. They like rented out a house in California somewhere, had Rick Rubin come in as their producer, engineer, and recorded in a house. So that sound of that album is super iconic because it's like really unique.
Do you know, did they write it in the house too? Or?
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah. Okay. And so Incubus did the same thing. They got that idea from Red Hot Chili Peppers. I think they really, I guess, admired the Chili Peppers and kind of did the same thing. They
different house though.
Different house. And actually the album cover, the album name is the street name where the house is in California.
Oh, okay. I was wondering where that came from.
Yeah, like Morning View, I think it's in
Drive or something.
Morning View Drive in like Malibu or something like that. And it's still there. And in fact, they redid the Morning View album.
I know. And I avoided that because I wanted to get the full take of this one. I did end up listening to it once just to hear it.
And if you go online, you can actually see like a live stream that they did from the house. They re-recorded in the same place? Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And so that's the whole thing. If you see behind the scenes, because I have a DVD, and you can go to the extras, and you can see like where they recorded, all that kind of stuff. It's a big room, big living room with like huge like mirror wall that oversees like the ocean or whatever, and it's really nice. But that's where they recorded the drums, so it's really lively. So you get that in the album, which I really appreciate.
Was that recording that you're talking about of the new recording or the original?
Both.
Oh,
yeah, both.
That's cool.
And some of the vocals though are isolated. There's a really cool like behind the scenes where he's re-recording or punching in a part of the song, and in the headphones you hear the song. And he's doing the part. He's singing. And when it's over, the part that they need to capture is over. They stop the music, and he's like, "Whoa!" It's like it just stops in your ears.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Okay," like no one else was hearing that but you, and you were just singing that part. So with like the mattress behind him for sound dampening, you know what I mean?
One thing I'm wondering, and I have some guesses, but the ad-libbing type of stuff that he's doing, is that happening also on the new one in the same way when they're live in concert? How many of these things are actual parts versus is he a guy that's going to off the cuff sing a vocal?
Oh yeah. It's really funny because there are parts that he does in the album, like the recorded parts that he'll do live. Okay. And these guys will riff on that stuff too. Like there's moments in concert, well, they'll make that part longer. Yeah. And they'll just riff and then go back into the song, which is really cool. Like for example, well, not in this album, when they played live at Red Rocks, in between, like during the bridge, the bridge turns into, what's that one song by The Police? A do, a da, da, da. It's all I ever want from you. Da, da. Yep. They go into that and then go back into, they break down and go right back into the song. And it's like, what? How in the, so really great stuff. But anyway, yeah, this album, because of all the stuff around it. And I remember being in high school and watching like MTV Cribs, and they were on it, you know, and they went to the Morning View house. And showed,
really?
Like, yeah. So that's why I'm like, okay, this is the one I have a lot more, I guess, memory about.
Yep.
And even though this album made me go back and listen to even their earlier stuff like Fungus Among Us and Science, which is that grunge funk, you know, like, you know, whatever, really different, just really busy, like even like djembes in the background playing, like it was a lot. And they even know, like, it was like, oh, we were just trying to throw everything at the recording. We just do everything. And then slowly and surely they have stuff now that's a lot simpler,
right?
Definitely more mature, not as whiny, I guess, in the vocals, you know.
Well, so how many of the songs from this album still exist on their repertoire? If they're going in concert, is there stuff from this album that you're like, oh, I want to hear them play?
Oh yeah. I mean, and they will. I guess the stuff that's like the most popular on this album,
"Wish You Were Here" sounded the most like, I think I've heard this before.
Yeah, "Wish You Were Here." Warning was on MTV. There was like that music video that, you know, that I particularly remember watching on TV and going like, yo, Incubus is awesome. I think at the same time Coldplay was around.
Yeah, I mean, they would have just come out with, I think The Scientist was early 2000s.
Was that Yellow?
Probably.
Yeah, because I think I remember seeing like on MTV charts and the music videos. Like MTV used to just play music videos, people.
People are like, what are you talking about, TV?
Oh my gosh. There was a place and a station on a TV that you go to and you just watched music videos.
You did. I wasn't allowed to.
Well,
we didn't have the channel.
It was but it was out there.
Yeah.
This was like YouTube before YouTube.
Yeah, it was just playing it.
Like before YouTube music, I guess.
It's funny because you get it now. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so I remember seeing Incubus and seeing Coldplay,
kind of back
Yellow
to back
at the same, and like it's so funny because like the video styles back then were very similar. I was like, was this shot by the same guy?
Yeah, I mean, maybe,
probably.
So what do you have here in your memorabilia pile?
All right, so this is cool because so my brother Edgar, I mean, it's been what, 11 years now?
That's crazy.
Since he passed away, but some of the stuff that he left behind, he was a big Incubus fan too. So he has this. Curl Left of the Murder. What is that? Was that the same Mosaic tour? 2004?
Yeah. Well, it looks like it. And this was the album after?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Curl Left of the Murder was the album after. That's when Ben Kinney finally entered in and on playing the bass. But really cool stuff. It just has pictures of the band in concert.
Yeah.
And we can take pictures of these and post it afterwards. But it has like a little biography, a little thing on, you know, each of the musicians, you know, Brandon.
And did he get this at one of the concerts? At the concert?
I believe so. Yeah. So
that's cool.
Yeah. So Mike Enzinger. Funny thing is, Mike Enzinger started playing Jazz Masters, and I bought myself a Jazz Master.
I was gonna say this looks almost just like it.
Yeah,
exactly. Was it the same one?
Yep, exactly.
This wasn't the one you threw across the parking lot, was it?
Nope.
Yeah.
No.
That was a different guitar.
The other cool thing about this, and this is funny that you don't know this about me, but when this album came out and Ben Kinney started playing with them, he live would always use this microphone, this white microphone with a gold top on it.
No way.
Yeah, and so I was like, oh, that mic sounds great. I bought it. We
that
used it.
is the same mic?
Yeah.
Cassandra, your microphone is inspired by Ben Kennedy.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Sad thing about Ben is he got diagnosed with a brain tumor.
Yeah.
And they had to do surgery.
Uh-huh.
And that's what, made him back off.
Yeah.
The touring schedule, all that kind of stuff, and playing.
Man.
Which they have I think her name is Nicole, who plays for them now. And I think she played for Panic at the Disco. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then, so in here too, this is really cool because I didn't know Edgar had this, but this is just artwork. I don't know. So Brandon Boyd has his own album. Mm-hmm. And he does a lot of artwork. So does Jose Pasillas. So a lot of the album artwork on, even in Morning View, like this is crazy. So a CD is this like plastic thing that you put into a machine and it plays the music.
People know. Don't talk down to our listeners.
The album. Yeah, I know, right? The album, the CD artwork is these two like yin yang goldfish.
Okay.
And that's all Jose Pesias and Brandon Boyd.
And that's the giant back tattoo you have.
Yeah, exactly. No tattoo. And then he has this signed picture of Brandon Boyd.
Oh, that's cool.
So I was like, "What, dude? How in the world did you not?"
And you didn't even know.
I didn't know
that was.
I didn't even know.
That's crazy.
So yeah, he was a huge fan, probably bigger than me, but yeah, we love Incubus.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
I've always known you were a fan. I've just never listened to them. Yeah. There's a whole lot of stuff from this era of time that I just didn't. I was listening to different stuff.
Yeah, true. I mean, it's funny because like we weren't necessarily allowed to listen to a lot of music like this either, but you know, having older siblings, you know, and having them be able to like do things outside of the home definitely got back to me.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I have to say, like I said, I didn't know what to expect coming into this album, but I literally texted you. I was like, this is the right album, right? Because I was listening to it and then I'm like, is this the album he was talking about? And I'm like, hey, this is the one, right? And you're like, yeah. I'm like, okay.
It's just crazy too, because the influence on it too, influence on me with a lot of it is even like the recording style, the sounds. I don't know. I mean, my engineer friends would probably understand this, but that whole adding a little bit of a slap reverb or something on a vocal to make it pop or make it sound a little more dimensional, very lightly. Like I got that from listening to the Incubus.
Okay, yeah.
It's like, what are they doing to the vocal to make it sound like that? Oh, okay. And that's something that other people do today that's like normalized or whatever. But I mean, in this era,
it felt very much of the time, and it really brought me back. When I play acoustic, mostly, but my first guitar was an electric guitar, and I remember playing in our youth group, and I just had this one Ibanez Geo, that bright red guitar I used to have. And I went and I bought my first pedal because I had no money. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to test a Guitar Center, figure out a pedal. And the first pedal I ever bought, maybe one of the only ones, I think it was bright green. It might have been a Boss, and it was a phaser.
Oh, yeah.
And this reminded me, I was like, oh, there's that vibe. Because that kind of...
Yeah. A phaser and a flanger at the same time with the delay. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And then there were a lot of like ambient intros. You hit the very first song on this one. There's like the little vocal things going on, and then kind of the gritty guitar stuff. And like you said, really tight with the bass and the drums. And then the bass would be playing through distortion of some kind. Yeah, kind of really edgy sound, which was nice. And the band is just in the pocket. Yeah, it felt like
it's one of those things too. Like even with you said that, like the bass player playing through some type of like overdrive or distortion. I don't know if other bands prior to that did that, or I'm sure they did. Like those grungy sound, whatever. But people still do that today. Yeah. Even in like contemporary worship music that we do today, people are like, oh, let's put it through a drive and add that to it because it does something to the mix. Yep. And I think like, hey, we were doing this in 2001. Yeah. No, totally. They punched it up quite a bit. So yeah, it made me feel the moment in time, even though I wasn't as familiar with their particular repertoire. Yeah. But the Asian stuff, that was the weirdest to me. So the angsty stuff, it's funny you mentioned the angsty stuff because
I didn't even say angst. The angsty
stuff. Well, before you mentioned the angsty stuff too, but you also mentioned the what did you say? The homage to like
feudal Japan. That's what I'm like. Well, at first I was like, oh, this feels a little bit Asian/Japanese. And then another thing came up. I'm like, oh, that's funny. There's another one. And by the end of this album, I was like, oh, this is intentional. Yeah. This is really all over the album.
Which is funny because if you look up Mike Enzinger on Google and look up pictures of him, you'll see him with like back in the day, like 2000 or 99 with dreads, like short dreads and like the Japanese like button up thing. Well, because he's married to a Japanese and Asian lady.
That girl. Makes more sense. Yeah. Well, I don't know which one influenced the other.
It's funny because so I think these guys were what, in their 20s?
I don't know. I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, they're in like their 20s, like early 20s when they did this. and they're all going through in like interviews. Brandon is like, yeah, I wrote that song because when I broke up with my girlfriend, I wrote this song.
Oh, it sounds like he was going through some stuff when he wrote these songs.
Yeah, but I think all of them were all in this like relationship stage, you know, because he's got like an Asian girlfriend from Japan, and he's doing Japanese riffs. Funny little I guess, I don't know, tidbit about that song, that sound, that sitar. He got that sitar from Steve Vai.
Really?
Electric guitar player, yeah.
He like secondhand or like not handed off from one guy to the other?
He tells a story, and Steve Vai corroborates it because I've seen both of them talk about it. But they met. He went to Steve Vai's house and was like, "Oh my gosh, you're like my idol, like you're a guitar player, all this other." And he picks up the sitar and he's like, "Oh, this is crazy, this is cool." And he's like, "Yeah, you want it? Somebody just gave it to me or whatever. You can have it."
Okay.
Like, all right, and he used it in the album.
That's
he's
crazy.
like, "Yo, he gave me this. I'm going to use this."
This is what I appreciate because of your ties to this album and the backstory. I knew it would be more meaningful than just my surface like experience of it firsthand. Which is, I don't know how other people are, but I think even with a good album that I'm like, you know, currently listening to or whatever, it will usually take me a couple listens to really feel it out. So the first blind one is always kind of a wild card. And then especially if it's something like this where I don't have any history, you know?
Yeah. And I think I got really into, I don't know, it depends on different personalities. Like, for example, like my wife, Elizabeth, she doesn't care about, I don't want to say not care, but she's not interested in finding out about like the artists, or not the artist, but like the actors, like life, or what do they do outside of acting or that show. Like, I don't want to know what kind of person they are. What if they're a terrible person?
Oh, she would rather it not.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when it comes to the music genre that she and I have experienced, she knows all the details about Toby Mac or like those guys a little bit more than.
Yeah, but maybe from like movies and stuff like that, she doesn't, whatever. But like, I mean, you're right. She's into, you know, New Kids on the Block. She knows all those guys and, you know, knows their background and their stories, stuff like that. But like for me, these guys were that for me because there's so much influential. I mean, I was just starting to pick up the guitar. I was playing drums.
Sure.
I was running sound. I wanted stuff to sound like this, you know, and it's like, well, what better way to find out why it sounds like this than to find out who these dudes are. Right. And how they do this, how they came up with this. And like Brandon Boyd, Jose Pasillas, and Mike Enzinger all went to the same high school. And they were like, let's start a band.
Yep.
So that's how they started. Cool. And then they brought the other guys in. So that's also really cool because, you know, how many people can say they still, you know, rock out with their best friends.
Right.
You know, so.
Besides you and I.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and that's what, once I started hearing like the record stuff and some of the other samples and even some of the drum work, I was like, oh, Josue and I like the David Crowder Band for different reasons. You know what I mean? Yes. Like how we both appreciate the same thing. And not that I don't like that stuff, but I didn't have this history either. So I was coming to maybe some of that stuff differently, or even Switchfoot, or some of the things that we mutually appreciate.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe this is an obvious fact, but it just sort of dawned on me that like, oh yeah, we have different experiences that are making us appreciate this for not all the same reasons.
Yeah, I totally appreciate the ingenuity, the sonic qualities of somebody intentionally putting in the work to make something sound a certain way. Yeah. I mean, David Crowder Band was definitely like that. I mean, B-Wack, the drummer, I mean, geez, like that sound.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like it's all coming back around. Like for a while there, it was all the snares all sounded gushy and deep and goosh, goosh.
Yeah.
And now I feel like it's all coming back to like more of a sound like this.
Yeah.
You know, and this is like one of those things where like, oh, I'm good at making that sound like that. Mm-hmm. And then having to change and try to make something sound like the other thing, like that's kind of foreign, but now it's coming back. I'm like, oh, I know how to do that.
Right. And I will say, as far as like the production quality, the drums, like I liked the type of drum sounds that were going on, but when I listened to the new recording of this, I was like, oh, this is better.
Oh yeah,
you know, just something about the sonic quality. Even because we talked about snare drum a little bit, and that first one, I'm like, this is a little. It just not quite where I want it to.
Tinny,
yeah, and then the newer one, I was like, oh, this feels. It just feels a little bit not deeper, but you know what I mean. It's just a total.
Yeah,
quality
it's like
better.
I think it's changed because it's also evolved from what was cool, was sought after then, and what's sought after today in that genre, in their own music, and as like a drummer still playing from 2001 to current and what sounds good. This snare, this sounds better.
Yeah.
Those types, mic technique, all that kind of stuff changed too.
Right.
Because in the same room, recording it in the same room.
Yeah, I was surprised by that.
Changing, yeah.
It sounds notably different.
Yeah. And it was one of those things too, like they have a history with their label where they kind of hated and were trapped in their label. When they finally got out of their label, they were like, now we can make things the way we want to make.
Yeah.
And let's go back and make Morning View the way we would have wanted to make.
Okay,
Morning
sure.
View.
So a lot of that. So I was coming to it with a lot of that like nuance appreciation, but then Brandon Boyd would sing, and I go, oh, like I would like even at the beginning. I think it was the first track I was okay with. What's the name of track one? No, Nice to Know You.
Yeah.
And the guitar hits really hard, but his vocal came in, and I was so surprised when he started singing.
Oh, really? I really thought you would like his vocal. Like, I mean, well, yeah, I really thought you might like his vocal, but I know there's some of the stuff I'd like to have you listen to nowadays. Well, not now, but like a few years ago, where he's hitting some notes and the longevity of the notes and just whatever. Because I've seen YouTube videos of people listening to Brandon Boyd and going, like vocal people.
Yeah.
And going, oh my gosh, he's amazing. And blah, 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 blah. There's like this YouTube channel. This lady just listens to like a bunch of music people refer her to.
Yep.
And she breaks down as a musical coach, a vocal coach and stuff like that, like the technique, what he's doing here, that's so good, this and that. Anyway.
I liked when he would lean into almost that kind of punk. I'm not singing, I'm not yelling. It's like in between. It's not spoken word, it's melodic. And he would do that. But whenever he would sing like, ooh, I'm like, I don't know. No. And I don't know how much of this, again, was due to the era. Because when I listened to the re-record, immediately I'm like, oh, I like the tone of his voice. And I don't know, there's some pitch correction probably, or he's better
changed,
as a vocalist.
I mean, you're talking how many years? 20-something years? 23,
and the
years?
timbre of his vocals even, he leans into it in a way that hits this particular tone that I go, oh, I like that better. Where on this first album, it was like the way that it would sit under the pitch, and like I kept going, no.
Okay,
you know?
yeah. I hear that.
But every once in a while, like he would hit some songs. I'm trying to remember which ones they are, where he would like lean into a different type of a vocal style, and I would go, okay, I like this better. But like Circles, even too, it was just track 2, and it started off with this great like riff at the beginning, strong groove, and then he started singing, and I was like, oh man, like I didn't like it. Like the background vocals I liked better than his vocals.
That's usually Mike Enzinger or Ben, or in this case today, Ben.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I can see that. It wears on you a little bit. I don't want that anymore. Like, yeah, you can kind of bring it down a little bit, and which I think he did in the later albums for sure.
Yeah.
And I think I know what you're talking about. In the prior album, like Pardon Me, the melodic, very fast, like, a decade ago, I was having a look in a book, but it's really fast, whatever. That kind of stuff really gets you.
The one I marked on this one was Have You Ever?
Have you ever tried to step in my shoes?
Yep. And he kind of pushes into that almost yelling. Yep.
Quite as soft as they sing.
Yep. I liked that. I like that vibe from his voice.
Yeah.
When he got angsty and it's like maybe he was going through something, I'm like, she's not coming back if you keep singing like this.
What about Warning? Warning was like one of their top songs. What did you think about that?
Josue.
She called out a warning.
I've been afraid to tell you this.
It's okay.
The note that I wrote was
on Warning
on Warning specifically.
Okay. Which is funny because this was one of the ones that was on MTV. It was played all over the place.
Yes, and I fully acknowledge that if I even listen to myself recorded from 2000, no thank you. Okay?
Yeah.
Musicianship off the charts.
Was that a thing then? Was that an angsty thing? Because I remember Hoobastank.
Yeah.
Hoobastank came out and people were like, wait, remember Hoobastank?
Yeah, I remember them as a name. I was thinking Hootie and the Blowfish because he had a different voice.
But Hoobastank came out. I remember listening to Hoobastank and going, these guys are ripping off Incubus. because the angsty
It
voice. and all that
definitely
kind
was
of
a
stuff.
thing, and
Yeah.
at the same time, Creed and that vibe was doing their deeper kind of.
Yeah.
This I wrote the note for this song was this is emblematic of what I don't like about this album. I said whiny vocals and weird melody choice at the start. The melody, I'm like, what is this melody? And now I can't even remember. I'm trying to remember how the beginning goes.
Bat your eyes, girl.
Oh,
The other world.
I could see how this would hit. Oh no. And the clean
What? So.
and that the clean guitar tone that with the phaser.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Oh, wow, okay.
Then I might have been more into
Maybe,
it.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
I
yeah.
was. But then when he goes in the
Oh, warning.
yeah. I don't like and the like.
Yeah, the re-recorded is definitely a lot more.
I have to listen
It's
to the
easier.
re-record of
It's
that
a
one
little better,
again
yeah.
because the melody I didn't like, and this is the thing. So where the Asian inspired, like when I'm talking, like occasionally you would get like the sitar
Yeah.
or a flute, which we can talk about later, but the guitar bits
Yeah.
where it's like he's playing notes and they're all moving simultaneously in like harmony together, right?
Yeah.
Which felt very like Eastern inspired.
Yeah.
But they would do the same thing with the vocals.
Okay, yeah.
Really tight. Like the harmonies are like really close in pitch together.
Yeah.
But then they would move and occasionally hit a chord where I go, oh, I didn't like it. It would just rub me like dissonant.
Yeah.
Which I think was intentional.
It probably is intentional. Yeah.
But that was like I couldn't.
Because that's their whole thing of like, well, even prior is like trying to make people, uncomfortable.
Yes. I think they were trying to do something and they did it.
Yep.
I didn't like the experience. It really aroused some emotions in me. Also, did he say Frog's Oblivion?
I think he did. Yeah, let's see.
Frog's Oblivion. I wrote that down because I didn't know. What this reminded me of while you're looking that up is when I was about this era of life, high school, and I would be up late on Saturday night. Say I was home on Saturday, I watched SNL, and I fell asleep in front of the TV because I couldn't stay awake long enough.
Frog's oblivious.
If I close enough.
Here we are, like frogs oblivious to the water starting to boil. No one flinches, and we all float.
Oh, that
face
makes
down.
sense. How you put a frog in, you boil it, they don't know what's happening. Yeah, I don't listen to lyrics a whole lot. But I was like, Frog's Oblivion, what is this about? But I was going to say, I wake up in the middle of the night and I had fallen asleep in front of the TV and find like Doctor Who on or something weird.
Okay.
And like, what, you know that experience of like just waking from a dead sleep and going, where am I? What is this?
Yeah.
That's how this song felt to me. Like something I would just wake up and find like, what's happening? What is this sound?
Well, that's what she's saying too, right? No one's listening. She called out a warning.
Warning!
She knew that her life. Don't ever let life pass you by. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Those left standing will make millions, writing books on the way it should have been.
I think, like you're saying about the backstory of the band and stuff,
Yeah.
that if I actually knew what maybe more of the lyrics were, because like I said, I don't listen to lyrics very much when I'm listening, especially musically on a first take, it would be more meaningful.
Yeah.
But I was annoyed by the song.
Which is okay.
Yeah, it's fine. It's
What
fine.
about Mexico? What do you think of the acoustic guitar?
That's my first note. Intro acoustic is nice.
Yeah.
And I thought actually
They always do that. They did that with Make Yourself. They had a song, Dig.
Uh-huh.
Is it Dig? Yeah.
It was like this part of the
Yeah.
album too. I thought the chord choices that they make sound to me sonically better on an acoustic. That's just my personal
It's
preference.
funny. They have a whole acoustic version of, I think, this whole album or the album prior. Anyway.
But that repeated like, you only think about yourself. I don't know the pitch. Sorry, I don't know the song. But that like repeated over and over again. I was like, again, it's his voice. I'm like, why are you doing this, man?
Well,
You're doing this song for me.
and that's the other thing too about this. I don't know if you caught this or knew this, but in this era of time of music,
Yeah.
there's no guitar solos.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, it wasn't. There was a lot of weird breaks. Throwing
there's so
extra
many
stuff in.
songs in that era, 2000s, 2001, 2010. There's like the guitar solo went away. I mean, in Coldplay, there's no guitar solos.
No. Yeah, you're right.
So it's weird. I don't know why, but now, I mean, thankfully that's not, happening today, I guess. And there's more guitar solos.
I guess. But even that era of Coldplay, when they were like their earlier discography, you'd have some sort of, interesting dissonant vibes too.
Yeah.
But something
There's
with this,
guitar
with,
stuff,
with
but
the
no, yeah.
layered harmonies along with it.
Yeah, so instead of repeating stuff, you just add a guitar solo.
Right.
You know?
I would have appreciated
And then
that.
this-
I would be like, take a vocal break. Just give me a guitar solo. Not a sitar, just a guitar. The cello was nice on that song. But then he started like oohing and ohing. And I'm like, no, what are you doing? Stop.
That's the stuff that all the ladies liked.
Did they?
I think so in that era.
Lady, I don't know. The songs that I marked that I think were the standout, like better ones for me personally. I told you, Have You Ever? I like the vibe of that. Wish You Were Here. It felt like we were talking about Donkey Konga, and I remember, what's the other song that's there? Drive? What's the name of the song that's on Donkey Konga?
Yeah, Drive.
From the last album?
Yep, yeah.
That felt like Wish You Were Here with the vocals. Right? That's that one?
Mm-hmm.
Wish You Were Here.
Yeah.
That one I liked more.
And that one's the one that they play everywhere.
That's probably why it was more familiar. It was kind of built in.
Yep. What was that once? Did you notice the one where it starts off with like, what is it? Blood on the Ground.
Yeah.
You didn't like that?
Mm-mm.
Did you, in the beginning of it, if you listen to that, the beginning of it, you have like his vocals all panned to the left and the guitars to the right. And you could hear right before he starts, he's like, and
yeah,
you
that's
hear his
cool.
breath. Yeah, that kind of stuff. I'm like, God,
That production stuff is definitely cool,
Yeah.
and I'm here for that. But it was like,
I don't want to talk to you anymore.
yeah, and it's that weird guitar chord that they just play over and over and over again. That one, yeah, that was a tough one for me too.
It's really that production stuff again, and the musical stuff too is like going back. I don't know, not wanting to go back and whatever rewind, but in circles, the round and like the music and the lyrics, like it sounds like it's going in circles.
Yeah, it's true.
Da-na-na-na.
Blood on the Ground, I liked it more when the drums and the bass guitar came in.
Yeah.
That felt, I like that part of the song. And then he starts more almost talking than he is singing.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that from his vocal. But by the time
maybe I should get you an instrumental version of this song.
By the time I got 4 minutes in, I was like, this is too long, But the outro was nice. Again, that guitar bass stuff. I liked it. So I was going to there are these parts of the song that I really like that. And I go, oh no.
Did your kids or anybody that listen at all?
Yeah. So I had Clark and Justice with me on the way home from school.
Okay.
And I got to what I think is my least favorite song on the album.
Which one?
Just a Phase.
Just a Phase. Oh man, I love the drums and the.
Yeah, I think those again are the things that I appreciate about it. But like with the melodic like guitar arpeggios was whatever. But the comment that my kids made was like, is he going to start singing? Like we're 2 minutes in and are there any lyrics? My kids always are like that. I'm like, guys, you need to learn to appreciate music. Yeah. But then he started oohing for another minute. And I'm like, you're kicking me right. You're pushing me out of this song. I was like, you were so close. And then you lost me.
I wonder if that was a thing back then too. Of oohing and awing.
I don't know. But again, because I don't know the lyrics, I have no idea what he's singing about. So I'm like, what are you, the lyrics?
I am bottled fizzied water and you are shaking me up, Jeff.
I get it as an image, but it was such a weird, I could get why, in fact, in the early 2000s, like I would have listened to this at this specific age. And I can think of other things I listened to with lyrics like that. And I go, oh, that's cool. It was like different. It wasn't your like, this is definitely not your run-of-the-mill, standard, easy lyrical
Would you say
line.
that his voice was a chalkboard that you left in third grade?
From third grade, yeah. I thought of that with my kids. I'm like, they're developing these memories right now. Yeah, that was the one. And so they heard that and they're like, no, I don't like it.
Yeah, oh, okay.
Yeah, but we didn't listen to it, a ton of it together.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the last... Really, the one that really encapsulated, I felt like all of my critiques was when we got to Aqueous Transmission, which is the end. It's too long, man. And this song,
and then the end. Did you listen all the way to the end?
With a full minute of frogs.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Isn't the song over? It's still going. At that point, I'm like, I thought I was done. I'm like, okay, we're done. We're at the end of the album. I'm like, it's not ending. There's frogs. Why are there frogs?
I'm floating down a river.
A river. Yeah, there's a few
Oars
water
free
analogies.
From their oars long ago.
But it was like, this
floating
was like.
down a river named Emotion.
Oh, no.
Could you imagine?
floating down a river named Emotion.
I mean, this is what he's going through.
Yeah. I was like, man, you need to find Jesus or something to get you out of this funk, this river of funk that you're in.
It's one of those things you listen to and like when you're like, you know, pining over a girl.
Yeah.
Or a girl dumps you.
But I saw a live version of this. I don't even know how I found the YouTube video. And then he started with the sitar part.
Yeah.
And the whole crowd was like, ah! And I'm like, if I heard him start the song at a concert, I would be headed right to the bathroom.
Are the frogs coming? There's frogs all over you.
It's a good time to go to the snack shack and get some nachos because these harmonies are awful. And again, though, this is what I said, the chords, the Asian chords and the vocal harmonies. And I didn't.
It's funny, they never did that again. I wonder if that was just a phase.
It's just a phase. I get that reference now. I would say the ones.
What about Are You In?
Ooh. Felt David Crowder-esque to me.
When sea phone green.
Got a like ambient blips and I don't know. It was nice when this is what I wrote. It was nice when the groove dropped in. Here comes the drums. Nice. The phaser was still weird, but the bass was nice. But again, it was ironic because the lyric was like, it's so much better when everyone is in. And I was like, this would be so much better if you were not in. Everybody else just stopped singing.
You know what's funny is I do remember an era where people made fun of this type of music.
Yeah.
The angsty, whiny voice stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think it was one of those things that brought everybody back to like, let's listen to some Metallica, you know? Ooh.
That's what I was like. I did think that. I was like, I would so much better one of these like be like screaming vocals or something, or something else. Just stop whining.
I do remember that back in the day where people were like, yeah, you know, why are these people whining so much?
So after this conversation, I'm going to go back and listen to the re-recorded version of this album one more time because I did listen to that a little bit and I thought, okay, I don't feel this as whiny. It felt more like a specific vocal style that I liked better.
Yeah. And, you know, I do remember like after this in Curl After the Murder, they did a bunch of stuff that's really reminded me of things back in, I don't know, the 70s or 60s with like a, you know, kind of, you might not like it, but a little bit of like, oh my gosh, the Beatles kind of vibe-esque
when
type
they started getting into the sitar stuff,
like
you mean?
Like, no, not that, but like the sound, like that British open, like guitar sound and like dry drums.
Sure.
But then you put Brandon Boyd on top of it, you know, you might like it, might not, but it's definitely different from this album. And then the album after that, different from the prior album. It's so crazy, which is why it's so funny because when I did the quizzes, I looked up the quizzes on ChatGPT, came up with stuff. There's this whole other thing of like, you could play this game based only on Incubus.
Yeah.
Like which album, which song is this genre? Which album, which song is that genre? I'm like, dang, dude, you guys went.
How many albums do they have?
So they got Fungus Among Us, Science, Morning View, Make Yourself, Morning View, Curl After the Murder, Monuments and Melodies. I think I'm missing one there.
I mean, even
I have
that.
to look it up.
Yeah, but still, so a lot, and they're still going.
And they're still going.
Which is
they
a
have
big thing.
8. So they have an album called 8.
Was that their 8th album?
Yep. If Not Now, When, Monuments and Melodies. Oh, Light Grenades. Light Grenades was one of my favorites. I love Light Grenades. And then Curl After the Murder, Morning View, Make Yourself, Science. And it's not on Spotify, but Fungus Among Us is an album. It's not on here, but they Enjoy Incubus is, which I don't know why.
It's like one of their deep cuts that everybody doesn't have.
And I don't know why this is not an album, but Trust Fall is on there. It's Trust Fall Side A and Trust Fall Side B in 2020. And then in 2019, Into the Summer is another album. Yeah.
But are you still actively listening to all their new stuff when it comes out?
You know, their newest stuff is this. The
re-release?
The re-release, yeah. They haven't really done anything since 2020.
Wow. It did remind me, though, of the time period and how weird it was in the early 2000s, too. There's just a lot of unique stuff. And I'm sure there's some of that now. But this is definitely not pop music. They are doing something unique and different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I am curious to hear some of their other stuff because having only heard this album, I don't really know.
For me, the best, how would you call it? Like to put all the music together and play it at once, or kind of thing. It's not an album, but the
compilation.
Compilation, yeah. The best compilation I think would be the Live at Red Rocks concert.
When was that recorded?
Awesome. It's probably like 2005, 2006. You know, between this and Monuments to Melodies. It has a lot of their older stuff. They'll do some of the stuff from Science, Make Yourself, Morning View, Curl After the Murder, and Monuments and Melodies. That's like, it was that repertoire, and the way they weave in and out of all of those. And yeah, there's the angsty stuff too, but with the more mature stuff too, whereas kind of vocal style change a little bit, but still a lot of the ooze. I mean, that's his trademark thing, is the ooze and the. Is it called a falsetto?
No, because he's not singing way up in the rafters.
No.
Well, I guess sometimes he is singing in his head voice, but it was just a lot of. I wrote vocalization. Yeah. He's just like vocalizing. He's just.
But the and it's also the live concert with Ben Kenny, who I didn't tell you this. Ben Kenny was the original guitar player of the Roots.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So he left the Roots to go play with Incubus.
Huh.
And his musical, I don't know if it must be a lot of his influence, because Ben Kenny also has a lot of he's a couple solo albums also.
Yeah.
And his style definitely you can hear in the rest of the music.
Yeah.
Like influenced in the rest of their stuff. And it's groovy, it's in the pocket. He also plays drums. So in that concert, there's a moment where he brings out this little kit.
Oh, cool.
And he plays along with.
Yeah, this is what I kept thinking. This music would be really fun to play.
Yeah.
And to experience live. Like if you're at a concert and this is going on, man, I would love to be immersed in this. I'd love to be in the band playing this stuff. This feels very fun to be a part of.
Yeah. And Mike Enzinger as a guitar player, he's so good. Some of the chords that he's playing and picking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's really, he's not using a capo. He's not, there's a couple of songs in drop D, but a lot of it isn't. And it's just his hands. And you're like, how in the world are you playing that?
Right.
There's a song that's called Sick Sad Little World. Crazy guitar stuff in that. Really, really cool. So anyway.
I have to look it up. Well, just before we talk about what we think of this, I meant to ask you what these lyrics mean in Just a Phase. You tell me what your interpretation is. I think this is the first two. Call it women's intuition, but I think I'm onto something here. Now, I want to point out that he is not a woman.
Temporaryism is a black plague?
Has been the black plague and the Jesus of our age. I know that I sound opinionated, maybe biased, and quite possibly jaded, but sooner than later, they'll be throwing quarters at you on the stage.
Who are you? When will we be through?
I don't know what any of that means.
Just a phase.
It's just a... Then he does a weird key change? Yeah. All right. What do you think of this, Josue? I think I know what you think of this.
I think it holds up in my mind, but that's because I grew up with this. And I think everyone should at least check it out once.
This is essential Incubus listening in your mind. Would you say this original album or the re-record? Have you listened to the re-record?
Oh yeah, definitely listened to the re-record. Echo and some of the stuff that they do in the renditions of it, dude, so good.
Like the extended stuff that they do also.
Yeah. Well, see, that's so hard to say. This is quintessential Incubus because they've done so much, man.
Yeah.
If you're the kind of guy who like the really hard punk grunge type stuff, you don't like anything past Science.
Interesting.
If you were like into Linkin Park and that fast pace, whatever, then Make Yourself was your album. If you were angsty and you just got dumped, you're thinking about that girl, Morning View's your album. Yeah. If you like more like stuff that's very throwbackish to like the British style stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
Then you'll like Curl After the Murder.
Yeah.
Monuments and Melodies. If you're into like Halo and that really ethereal type of stuff, you're gonna like Monuments and Melodies.
Well, yeah. So I would say
it's all over the place.
Whatever mood you're in, just email us, and Josue will tell you what Incubus album you need to listen to.
Exactly. Yeah, that should be a quiz right there. What emotion are you feeling now? Which song?
That's a good one. Maybe you could make a blog or something. Well,
what did you think?
This is nostalgia, Josue. This is up and down, all nostalgia. It reminds me of 2000s, and I'm thrilled that you love it. But I never want to listen to this album. I will listen to the re-record. The vocals really did me in. I was like, I get it.
Oh, dude, no, I get it too, because it is a black plague on us. The whiny, angsty vocals.
I would rather listen to the frogs.
Ribbit. That's a great one. The frogs.
All right. I hope they got paid well, those frogs.
Oh, dude. I mean, you know how much money these guys probably made on all these albums?
Yeah. They're just boiling the frogs. Oh, yeah. They sang about boiling frogs. Then they had frogs at the end of the album. Oh, no.
You think they were all boiling? No.
Yeah, no. Well, I would love to have people send us their suggestion of nostalgic albums that we should listen to.
Heck yeah.
Where should they send those, Josue?
They should send them at nostalgicalbum@wdyt.
.show.
.show.
Yeah, and we'd love to do it. You could also drop that in the comments. And if you have an opinion about Morning View by Incubus, you can right now scroll to the poll and let us know right below whether
let me know how much you loved it.
It holds up, yeah.
With or without Random Boys vocals.
Yeah, I definitely do want to hear it. Okay, before we close things off for today, you had a final round that you wanted to go through here of the quiz.
This one is an interesting one because this one would be one that you would give to me.
Oh, yeah.
And it would test my knowledge on Incubus.
Okay, this will be interesting because was this another Chat GPT?
Yeah.
Which means you spit this in and didn't look at it.
Nope.
Which means I will be quizzing you, but these answers may not be 100% accurate.
They may not.
This is going to be a wild time.
I think I saw the first one.
Okay, so it might be a gimme.
And that one I think is wrong.
Oh, really? Yeah. What is even this quiz? Okay. And I had some closing the loop stuff that I'm going to save, but I had just some answers based on last week's awesome discussion with David.
Oh, that was great.
It was so funny. Like you'd throw out a reference and you're like, the guy. And he's like, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. These 5 movies that are iconic. And he's like, I haven't even heard of those. Okay. Here we go. Guess that band, Incubus edition. Okay, round 1 is Incubus origins and basics.
Yes,
we covered some of this. Where did the band Incubus originate?
Calabasas, California.
Oh, I don't even see that. I see Los Angeles.
Exactly, I saw
Is it a suburb?
I think so.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, 1 point
Los
for you.
Los Angeles, I guess, is the closest.
What was the title of Incubus's breakthrough 1999 album?
Make Yourself.
That's correct. You're doing really well. I'm trying to get a pen so I can mark down some points. I'm going to call these 2 because you're getting these without multiple choice.
Multiple choice.
Who needs multiple choice?
Yeah, who needs it?
Okay. I know this one. Who's the lead singer of Incubus, Josue?
Oh, I think his name is Brandon something.
I will never forget the name Brandon Boyd after
Boyd.
this.
He has his own music too, by the way. You should look at that. I forget something. Brandon Boyd and the Wild Trapeze or something like that. It's not good. Sorry, Brandon.
Can't. I mean, that trapeze, like the vocals. Okay, round 2. Albums and songs. Which Incubus song contains the lyrics, whatever tomorrow brings, I'll be there. I'll be there.
Drive.
Brings me back to Donkey Konga. Man, I wish we could revisit the game Donkey Konga.
I know, right?
For the podcast. Love that game. I don't
You still have it?
No, I got rid of all the congas.
Aw.
We took them with us from house to house.
On the GameCube. You still have the GameCube, right?
No.
Oh.
I didn't even have the GameCube at the time. I had a Nintendo
The
Wii that
Wii.
could play GameCube
That's
games.
right. Oh, jeez.
Man, shout out to John Duncan if you ever watch this, because that's where I first learned to play Donkey Konga. And he's a great drummer, great friend. Okay, Wish You Were Here was a single from which album?
Morning View.
Okay.
The view of the mornings.
It's not a 2. Which album features a heavier experimental sound and includes the song A Certain Shade of Green?
Oh, that's Science.
Yes. What does that stand for? Because I see it's an acronym. It's got SCIENCE. All
Well, that's a good
periods.
question. I never looked that up.
Maybe for next time. Okay, round 3. Incubus band members. Which member of Incubus is known for his work on guitar and orchestral arrangements?
Mike Enzinger.
Yep, you said. We already have the answer. If you
That's so crazy.
if you listen to the episode, this quiz is like the test you take at the end of a class to say you
this is
actually
an open
paid
book test.
attention.
My mind is an open book.
Who joined the band in 2003 as the bassist, replacing Dirk Lance?
Ben Kenny.
Ben Kenny is correct. I mean, you're 100%. Josue. You're amazing at this. Which member of Incubus is responsible for turntables and keyboards?
DJ Gilmore.
Rick. Do you know what his first name is?
Chris.
Nice. Okay. Round 4, lyrics and style. Which song includes the lyrics, I hear you on the radio, you permeate my screen, it's unkind? I have no idea. I can give you multiple choice if you want. I hear you on the radio, you permeate my screen, it's unkind.
Oh, it's a Megalomaniac.
That's one of the options on this.
Oh, okay.
But according to the GPT,
it's not that one.
it's not that one.
It's
You want multiple choice?
okay.
A, Animali. B, Stellar. C, Nice to Know You. D, Megalomaniac.
Oh yeah, Animali.
This says it's Nice to Know You.
Nice to know you.
We might have to come back to this in a closing the loop, but for now, 0 points on that.
The lyrics again. You permeate my skin.
I hear you on the radio.
You
You
on the
permeate my
radio.
screen. It's unkind. Which I want to point out, I have no idea what that means.
I don't know if that's right.
Okay, come back to that one, but for
We
now, 0.
We will come back to that one because maybe they're all wrong.
We're going to retake this quiz with the right answers. Incubus's musical style best described as a blend of which genres?
Oh my gosh.
You want me to give you just options?
New metal
That's one of them.
and new metal and I don't know, man. I'm going to say prog. No.
Well, we've established I don't really know what prog rock is.
Yeah, so new
it
metal
could be.
and what else?
Alternative
rock.
Yes. And then I'm just going to give it to you. The other is funk.
Funk.
Which
oh my god. Yeah.
we described it as funky many times. So, which Incubus song features abstract lyrics and a prominent DJ scratching section?
Abstract lyrics and a prominent DJ scratching section.
All of them?
Pardon me.
That's an option, but it's not the right one according to ChatGPT. You got Pardon Me, Animali, A Certain Shade of Green, Megalomaniac.
I guess a certain shade of green.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay, 1 point. All right, we're here at the final round, everybody. If you've made it this long, you are the biggest Incubus fan. Deep Cuts and Legacy. In what year was Incubus formed?
1991.
Wow. Well done.
No way, really?
Yeah. Well done.
I was like, it has to be before 99.
Which Incubus album debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200?
Make Yourself? Wait, did it say year?
No, it just says it debuted at number 1 though.
It's probably going to be Morning View then.
It's not.
No?
Should I give you multiple choice? There's only 2 other options. 8 and Light Grenades.
Oh, geez. So it was probably like grenades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll call that half a round.
Dang. I didn't know that.
What is the name, last question, of the band's 2017 album?
2017 album. Make Yourself. No, 2017. Sorry. Monuments and Melodies.
Nope,
Whoa.
neither of those are options. Here's your multiple choice. A, 8. B, If Not Now, When. C, Trustfall. D, Morning View.
Shoot. If Not Now, When?
Wrong. Oh, I'm sorry. It's
Dang.
8.
8 was in 2017. That's kind of
Confusing.
yeah.
Also, the re-release of Morning View is 23 because it came 23 years after the original one, but the album came out in 2024. I really was a head scratcher on that one. I was like, wait, what does this mean? Am I reading Roman numerals wrong?
Am I?
Oh, man. Josue,
Good stuff, dude.
I'm going to tabulate this. Tell people where they can find us in the meantime.
You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube at wdyt.show. Everywhere you consume media.
Yep, wdyt.show.
On Instagram too, wdyt.
I did. I put out special quizzes on Instagram of just some of the stupidest stuff, and some of them still remain. Some of them got taken down by the YouTube algorithm, but I'm contesting it, and they will be back.
Yes.
We've done all kinds of crazy quizzes, and we have more stuff coming up next week. So if you want to be the first to find out about that, of course, if you like this as a video, or you follow the podcast or subscribe on Apple and Spotify and everywhere else, that is the easiest way, and we will be putting out messages, promoting stuff on the accounts and all that stuff.
Yes. Please like and subscribe, share.
It's so helpful. And more people are finding out about the podcast, Josue, and let me tell you, they're excited. Especially because you got 23.5 points in that quiz.
23.5, wow.
Which I'm pretty sure is an A. Not an A+, but
probably like an A-.
You deserve an award. A sticker from the teacher. So, well done. Do we know what we're doing next week?
You know what? I don't think we talked about it.
Did we talk about... Because we broke our mini... Maxi-sode episode rhythm to do this album review.
Yeah.
So does that? I think that means next week is going to be a mini-sode teasing what's coming next.
Yep.
So you can be looking forward to fun games extravaganza.
Heck yeah.
And if you're listening to this on the day of release and you live in this area, come to 90s Worship Night because it's going to be a hoot and a hollering time.
That's right.
I got to start listening to that playlist now for the next.
My wife's been listening to that playlist. She's been enjoying it a bunch.
The funny thing about those songs is I remember them mostly from singing them. And when you go back to the original recording of some, you're like, oh, this is not how I remember it. Maybe they need to be re-recorded.
I wish it would be appropriate, but I'd be like, I'd want for you to like drop some type of Incubus reference in one of
I know, we'll talk about it. Maybe I can.
Maybe like a countdown or something before the service starts. Well, I was thinking like a frog sound or something like that on the countdown. You know, in the background.
You'll be back there in that media booth. You do whatever you want. Josh will be cool with it.
Or you know, maybe a phaser or something on your acoustic.
The acoustic. No, the chorus pedal goes for the acoustic. I remember that from the early 2000s and the 90s.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. Thanks, Josue, for always making this a good time.
This is awesome.
This is really fun. I'm glad we got to finally visit Incubus.
Yeah, I'm glad I was able to I don't know, have you see the other side of the moon a little bit.
Yeah, that side of the
other
mountain.
side of the mountain.
All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next time on What Do You Think of This?
Peace out, everybody.
How do I want to express myself about this album?